back to the situation from London. The attacks here yesterday are still reverberating around the world. What about the Arab world? How are they being seen there? To answer that question, joining us now from New York City, Raghida Dergham. She's the senior diplomatic correspondent from Al Hayat newspaper. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Hello, thank you.
Summarize for me quickly what the response in the Arabic language press has been to the attacks yesterday.
Well, of course, the London press has taken the issue as an issue of its own city. Yesterday, for example, one of the papers had a one-page story, and one story only on that first page, which was the bombings and the attacks on London. Now, the commentaries have been very much calling for mobilization against terrorism, against Arab or Islamic terrorism, and of course you would have a debate as well, just like you had heard right now. There are people who have a different point of view, and they are talking over each other's heads, just like you and Tamim just happened. You thought his argument was disgraceful, and he thought your argument was racist. And so you have that sort of debate going on also within the Arab community, and it is aiming at finding out where do we go from here.
Well, I mean, are there large mosques anywhere in the Islamic world that you're aware of that have mobilized against al-Qaeda? Are there mosques, for instance, that are offering a bounty for Osama bin Laden, that have issued fatwas against, Muslim leaders have issued fatwas against him? Is there a grassroots movement against Osama bin Laden?
Well, I don't know if there is bounties against him. I don't think that's the sort of thing that you will hear coming out from the mosques. But yes, of course, there has been many clerics, very prominent Muslim clerics, taken a very strong, clear position against al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden and his likes. And so you cannot, it's wrong to say, like the New York Times said, that there was never an outrage expressed by Muslim clerics against Osama bin Laden. That is absolutely not true. As to the mobilization on the public level, I think that will need necessarily and definitely the empowerment of that public with politics and policies so that they can defeat the extremists like Osama bin Laden and like Zarqawi in Iraq. So I think the politics will have to come in here.
Well, I'm sorry, what does that...
Go ahead.
What is that? I'm sorry, if you could just explain a little more. What does that mean, the empowerment of the public so they can defeat bin Laden and Zarqawi? How would we empower the public to do that?
Well, take a look, for example, at the argument that you just had with Tamim over Israel. The Arabs feel that a lot of wrong has been done to the Palestinians. They just feel that it's quite unfair to somehow let Israel get away with everything it wants against the Palestinians under occupation. They feel the call for freedom should be also a freedom from occupation. From their point of view, this has not been done, that the United States has been partial against Arab causes, if you will. So if
they're absolutely right. But they're absolutely right.
Why? Who's
okay,
right?
but the two are separate issues. I believe that what has been done to the Palestinians is unfair, and the U.S. is taking, of course, the Israeli side against the Palestinians. But that still doesn't answer the question, why aren't people standing in large groups outside chanting death to Osama? They can do both simultaneously, can't they?
I wish you were right. I wish this was doable, but I think it's not doable, at least not so far. Some people are calling for it. I for one, has been calling in my column that there needs to be a mobilization out loud, clear, against terrorism, against impacting civilians for whatever pretext it may be. But I don't think it's been a successful call, because the answer back to me is, wait a moment, why do you care so much only about what's happening to the civilians in the Western world? What about what's happening to Palestinian civilians and to the civilians in Iraq? It's exactly what you heard.
Because it hurts Islam. It's a perversion of your faith.
I agree.
And it also is, incidentally, a terrible public relations disaster for Muslims everywhere.
Absolutely. You and I agree on this. The trouble is, how do we mobilize the public? And that is the most important thing that needs to be done. I think also the American public opinion needs to be mobilized in order to understand how our foreign policy impacts our existence. And I think we need to mobilize the Arab and Muslim public by saying, look, we are partners in this. The war is, we are together in this war, and we need to win it rightly.
I'm sorry to cut you off. We are out of time. Raghida Dergham, thanks very much. Al Hayat newspaper, we appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Next, Italy announced